in New Orleans, you ought to go see the Mardi Gras. If you go to New Orleans, you ought to go see the Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Parade Route. Tonight is a very, very special episode for us because we are not just joined by royalty. We've got three royalty here on screen with us. So
kings everywhere.
Kings everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, the kings of rock and roll, the kings of Mardi Gras, in my opinion, the crew of Rolling Elvi. Good evening.
How's it going? Thank you very much.
So let's start off with the, I guess, the standard question. How did y'all come to be? I mean, the mixture of Elvis and Scooters is definitely an eclectic mixture, you know?
Yeah. I could take this one. I think I've been around the longest in this group anyway. So long time ago in Mardi Gras, far, far away, our late founder Macon Moore and our other founder Dave Center were watching the Shriners kind of do their thing, and they kind of, I think one said to the other something to the effect of, man, wouldn't that be great? I've always wanted to do that, but we should do something different. We should do something really ridiculous, like on scooters, and dress up as something super crazy like Elvis. And the idea was born. And at the beginning, when the crew came into an existence, the idea was to be a precision scooter team with sort of scooter routines and
doing like the figure eights and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, like a coordinated scooter routine. But so the story goes, Macon and Dave saw the first practice and saw a dozen or so guys on scooters moving around the parking lot, and they thought, nope. There is nothing funnier in the world than a bunch of guys on scooters and Elvis just doing whatever comes natural.
And if I remember correctly, there was a concussion that was involved with the first practice also. Like somebody took a spill and ended up needing some attention.
Yeah, it took a minute. Back in those days too, they were two-stroke gas-powered scooters, and those things could be a little cagey, we'll say. Yeah, but yeah, for sure.
That's the ones that basically look like it almost looks like a weed whacker on two wheels.
For sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful description. Many a New Orleanian that came to the parade, particularly Muses between 2007 and probably 2015, when they were mostly two strokes, probably know that a bunch of people get that extra special throw every year. They would break down so much, guys would just leave their scooter with somebody on the side of the road. So houses all over Uptown, I'm sure there's dead two-stroke scooters.
I find it hilarious watching you guys kind of roll into the parade route from every direction. It comes from all over town. It's just hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's I wish one day we get a bunch of drones and follow us. There's some parade day traditions. There's a group called the Order of the Pink Phoenix that parade all over the bars uptown and end up at the route. We used to have a day roll that would go all over to different bars and end up at Superior Grill. And now we just sort of gather at Superior Grill and come in. It's kind of funny. And being on one of the scooters, it's kind of funny to go through the neighborhood and see how many people notice you and are looking for you. It's part of the event itself. It's really fun being an Elvi, y'all.
Sure. Well, you mentioned that it initially started off with like, say, a dozen or so guys who were at that initial practice. I mean, now it seems like y'all roll with like 60 or 70. How many rolling Elvi are there at this time?
Cliff may have a better grasp on numbers, but we're definitely upwards of 250 when you count the Rolling Elvi, the Priscillas.
Yeah.
And when Muses is typically our most popular parade, and we used to cap that at 100 scooters. That's not mentioning the people who walk or ride on the float. But the last couple of Mardi Gras, we've been capping that at 125, I believe. So I mean, we're growing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know y'all are all over in the community. We're going to talk about a special community event that y'all did here in a little bit, but I know that y'all are, I've seen when all of the different crews do, or like dance teams and marching groups, etc., do like their ball or their fundraiser, y'all are always out there in full force as well. Y'all have always got a group of guys. I remember last year or year before when the Disco Amigos were doing, I think, their fundraiser to get a new van or something like that. And y'all showed up and started doing the dance with them, like they were doing a 24-hour dance. Oh no, it was the Lucha crew.
Yeah.
And y'all showed up and y'all started dancing with them. And at one point, the Disco Amigos showed up, and y'all started doing the same dance as them. And I mean, y'all are all over the place. I see y'all updating all the time with community events that y'all are helping out with, raising awareness to causes and things like that.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about being in Elvi is there's so many of us, right? And there's always a group that want to do something. You mentioned our Jailhouse Rockers show up at all kinds of events and do the dancing. That's sort of a subgroup. And we get invitations all the time to do all kinds of stuff. We actually have to be a little choosy, but yeah, we're 100% volunteer driven, and it doesn't take much. I want to shout out Doug just did a huge blood drive. We're sort of invited the crews to a dance off down at Tipitina's. And, I think total donation of blood broke our goal of over 125 pints.
Wow. That's an amazing blood drive. I've run a couple of blood drives with my Lions Club, and, like if we get like 2 dozen, we're like, all right, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So 125, that's amazing.
Yeah,
well, we try to show up for other crews because they, that blood drive wouldn't have been successful on our own. The other crews showed up and supported us, and so it's really it's meaningful to me to try to keep that door open with other crews, because it's a really great way to build community outside of just our own organization.
Well, it surprises me how often you crews all interact together, whether it's the balls or events or anything like that. But every time we go somewhere outside of a Mardi Gras parade, like any of those crews, events, there's always 20 people, or 20 different groups together all at once. And you can obviously spot them all because, see a group of kings walking through the door. It's pretty much what's going on.
I kind of credit Muses with that a little bit, because back when we formed in early 2000s, we'll say 03 is the formation. First parade was 04. In fact, we're hitting our 20-year anniversary. We were sort of some of the very early, sub crew with Muses, and they sort of reinvented that idea. And so there's a lot of mixture. Like, we've all been in other ones, and we've all got connections and friends in other ones, whether it's the Muffaladas or the Pussyfooters or, the Lucha crew. There's a lot of overlap among our crews, both in our dating lives and a lot of people are members of a number of them as well. It's kind of addictive, guys. I mean, the float's out where it's at. Down with the people.
Yeah, so I'd always kind of like, well, we go to everything, so joining something would be tough, but it's always been that kind of new school kind of crew like you guys that I've always kind of gravitated towards, whether it's like you guys, Lucha, or there's a handful like that, but like, hey, these guys just look like a blast. I mean, how can you not want to do that?
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to Doug's wife's crew, the Sassy Racks, that are really coming up. They kind of blew away our little dance off too. Another one that's, just in that same venue that we've got a strong connection with, because, Doug's married to one of the sassier racks.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And it's interesting, that crew was born out of one that kind of disbanded during the pandemic. And it's interesting to see the old crews fold and what springs to life after that, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I would say is also really connected with y'all is y'all have several different throws that y'all do, which is kind of unusual for a marching group. There's several of them that have like one special throw thing that they might have, and like if you've got two of them on the parade route with you, you're you're hot stuff. But y'all are notorious for, and it goes so perfectly hand in hand with the Elvis theme, the poker chip. To where we're doubloon collectors, and we know several people that the only poker chips that they collect are the Rolling Elvi poker chips.
Yeah, we had friends go to the Krewe last week specifically to get a poker chip.
Man, I got more poker chips around my house than Harris. I'll need to put a bag together and get them over to you. I don't know why it's one of those ones I buy in mass. But Cliff, man, you know all about the throws. Give them some taste of the upcoming.
Yeah, for sure. So, we have poker chips are probably the biggest thing, and typically those are going to be things that our throws group has for every different parade that we have. The scarves are a little bit unique. So to get a throw like that, the dolls have been really popular over the last couple of years as well. And so, but I do think like the poker chip is the thing that, folks kind of flock towards. It is kind of funny when you're on the route and you give like a little kid a poker chip and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And the parents around them are like, oh, give me that. So,
yeah, give me that. I'll take it.
Sorry, it's kind of a trip, but yeah, those are those are our, I think kind of our, if I had to say what our three big ones are for Mardi Gras, the poker chips, the scarves, and the dolls.
Yeah.
We carry our own stuff. And so a lot of us have modified our scooters to, because we don't have a big trailer or anything like that, with, bins and buckets and baskets and whatnot to be able to haul everything along with us. So, it's, which makes for part of the spectacle, a bunch of, kind of zip tied, bungee corded, Rubbermaid containers, holding throws on the parade route are, kind of fun.
Yeah.
We call it Elvi engineering. You should see what these people go to get stuff on these scooters, y'all. It's fantastic. And like the little throws are great, particularly the ones that the dudes like, because guys, they're not going to go after a voodoo doll, but man, they want a poker chip, right?
Yeah.
So you can get a lot more smiles out of a sleeve of poker chips than you can out of a big old bag you can't carry of stuffed animals and stuff, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's several people in the doubloon collecting community that at the swaps and everything, they're like, I got the blue poker chip, but I couldn't get a red one this year. You got a red one? I got to get a red one. Yeah. And, you'll see people who are specifically looking for one thing and one thing alone, Elvi poker chips.
Let me know next time there's a swap. I will show up. And I have got more throws in my attic for the last 15 years of this stuff than you can imagine. And a lot of them are poker chips. I need to show up. People happy.
Yeah, people would absolutely adore that. So yeah, I'll keep you in the loop.
We also get messages on typically through our Facebook page, people looking for specific doubloons. So we know, poker chips. So we know that people are watching.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't necessarily know this, that watch this podcast, like we do poker chips for things like when we appear in the running of the Bulls Festival in July. There's special Bulls poker chips, like the Boo poker chips. It's not just solely related to our annual throws packages for the parades.
Yeah, you see them. You see y'all post them online, on your social media a week or two in advance. I'm guessing pretty much right when they get off the boat, or right when Amazon or whoever drops them off. That that's one of the first things that you'll see teasing about the those extracurricular holiday parades outside of Mardi Gras,
for sure.
So
yeah.
Well, no, y'all don't have any sort of like set uniform or anything, but y'all must all go to the same like hair care specialist, because I mean y'all all have this beautiful like flowing locks of hair. It's just amazing.
We had a good guide.
Need a little couple of tips if y'all don't mind,
Yeah, well, what's interesting, if you want a little bit of behind the scenes, the three of us underneath this these pompadours, there's not a lot to be desired.
Wait, you telling me that's not natural?
Come on.
Underneath that pompadour, there's another pompadour. You know?
Right, yeah. No, this is just my daytime pomp.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nighttime
this
pomp's
is the work
underneath.
pomp.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you know, so one thing I should say, and I don't know if this is going to be popular or not, but this crew is not developed because somebody was this huge fan of Elvis. It was because he cut such a particular swath that looked really fun on scooters, and now we've all come to love him, and we, you know, we pray to his music. But I like to say that we all kind of have our own take on the Elvis style, and we all honor the king in our own way. And we've got folks that have done all kinds of Elvis sort of style jumpsuits, but in their own fashion. Like we've had a Celtic Elvis, we've had, you know, folks that sort of channel anime. One of our guys did an Adidas jumpsuit. Mine personally, and this is a while ago, is sort of honored Michael Jackson as another pop star. It was the Beat It jacket. You know, it's sort of, and then some people go full on and do a full, like the Owl jumpsuit from the 70s or the Comeback Tour. It's just all over the place. And we kind of like that. And no two pomps are the same before the parade, and no two pomps are the same after the parade. And the same pomp is not the same after the parade as it was before. It's whatever goes.
So, what are the requirements, I guess, to become an Elvi?
Well, the requirements are you have to be 21, right? 21 years old. Male, female. We accept everyone. Other than that, you join as a Memphis Mafia, where you kind of had this 1 year of provisional membership, where you run support for parades. Outside of Mardi Gras, you have all the rights and privileges of a regular member, of a full member. And after you've served that 1 year, it kind of comes up to a vote to the board of directors for the Rolling Elvi for, you know, what you've done, what you've contributed. And if you get voted up, you become a roller and you get your wheels.
Yeah, and you know, and sort of interlaced in there is that you kind of got to get nominated. You got to know somebody. You got to show up. We got to kind of know who you are. And that step that Doug's mentioned in the Mafia year, we sort of opened the door. You're in the foyer, we'll say. You get to do all this stuff with us. But that year is the year to say, okay, now that you're here, you got to go get to know everybody. That's really what that board decision is based on. Not really if, you know, we like his wingtips, but more, you know, is this somebody that's been there and contributed to this crazy culture we call the Rolling Elvi?
Yeah, they're not just, to lack of better words, taking the name per se and not fulfilling the duty.
We got a name for that, and it's an Earl, Elvis. Although, just Elvis. I'll be, guys. Why am I forgetting this?
I don't know.
It's in name only, but I'm forgetting. Give me a second. I can't believe now I'm embarrassed. No, that's what it was. Earl. Elvis, although really lame, is an Elvi in name only, is what we refer to him. And the idea is that, you know, they don't really contribute to the management, or they just show up one day a year to parade. And I mean, they're accepted like anybody else. It's just sort of an inside joke that we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of guys that have come through this thing that put a lot of work into keeping this thing what it is. And, you know, for sure, you're looking at some of them down there below me. They're really, it takes a lot to keep these guys together and get parading every year, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's obvious that some of you guys really, you know, go all in as far as the costuming, and, you know, you can tell the decorations on the bike and everything else. I mean, I'm not sure what all y'all do outside of parading, because I don't really see that, but you know,
Sure.
In the parade itself, you can obviously tell there's some that really are, you know, that's their life for that few months or whatever, you know. I can picture them all going to work like that.
I got a great story. My buddy Bo, we call him Pinky. He wears a Pink Phoenix costume. Many years ago, when he built his scooter, he went and he took a scooter apart, built this custom scooter, took every piece of it apart, painted it pink, stretched it, built these custom holders for his throws, put lights on it. I mean, this was a beautiful scooter. Just as he had finished it off, and it was in his father-in-law's garage on the West Bank, somebody broke in and stole it.
Oh.
And he hadn't gotten a chance to roll in the parade yet. So you know what he did after reporting it to the police and driving the neighborhood, thinking he could see it glowing from inside the garage. He went and built the exact same scooter again because it was that important for him, not just to be in a parade as an Elvi, but to be on that scooter in a parade. So there's a lot of dedication to what the guys do to parade, and a lot of dedication into making the crew a real hospitable, happy place for people to come in and do the same thing.
Did they ever find another scooter?
No.
How do you miss a stretch pink scooter?
And
we laughed. I don't understand.
We laughed about that. Oh my God. It's like steal something you can never use. A bright pink Rolling Elvi scooter. Like, who's not going to see that? Just put it on social media. You'll find it 10 minutes later, but it never turned up.
Right.
Yeah. But he still got the second one.
So the special event that I wanted to talk about is something that actually was something that came to my family, actually. So I have an aunt that she had cancer, and it started to spread. She went through chemotherapy. It was clear. It came back, started going through chemotherapy. The doctors basically said that they were peeing in the wind, that it wasn't doing any good at that point. So she was on hospice care from the house, and every week she would get a visit from a lady who her name was Carissa, and Carissa was her music therapist, and she would come play music for her to help give her therapy. And the two things that she would always request are strongly related to y'all: Elvis music and Mardi Gras. And when the the lockdown happened, we hit 2021, and there was no Mardi Gras, because the pandemic was still ongoing and all that. And at one point in, I want to say it was April, Carissa came over and she noticed that my aunt was a little depressed. And she said, "What's wrong, Miss Lois?" And she said, "Well, I'm a huge Mardi Gras fan." And she was a tremendous Mardi Gras fan. And she was also a huge Elvis fan, obviously. So she said, I'm afraid that I'm not going to get to see another Mardi Gras parade. She was like, I'm realistic. I know that my cancer is spreading, and it's eventually gonna take me. And she was like, I think it sucks that we were robbed of having Mardi Gras. So Carissa leaves, and from what I understand, she started reaching out to different groups, and one of the groups that she reached out to was y'all. Sure. And initially, when I was contacted about it, my sister called me and said, "We're going to do a parade for Aunt Lois." And I'd assume that would be one of these birthday parades like you saw going on during the lockdown, where people would, drive around the block, throw their present out, wave at the birthday person, and go on. So it gets close to the original scheduled date of the parade, and I get a text from my sister saying, "We're backing up the parade a week. We need to find out if we might need to have permits for this parade." So apparently, while I'm thinking that it's just a little car parade, Carissa's reaching out to, groups like y'all, the Muffaladas, the Marie Antoinettes, the Highlanders, the Lucha Crew, Dance Floor Elite. I know I'm missing some of them. And, God bless to everybody. But we held this parade, and, my aunt loved the hell out of me. Right before the show, I told y'all, if I lost my left leg, she'd be getting a saw out to cut off hers to give me hers, that she would have given the shirt off her back for me. So we go through this parade, and she sees me, and she's excited. Well, when the parade was over, I went back over to the house, and the only thing that she talked about at that parade was y'all, the Rolling Elvi.
Well, we should have talked about her a lot too.
Yeah. I was going to say, Doug, you should tell the story from our side, because that was really all you, brother.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not sure if maybe you're referencing something I don't remember, but I can tell you that we felt the love from everyone at that parade, including her, and coming out of the pandemic and the divisiveness that was that year politically, and not being able to do things, jumping on that scooter and participating in that event, our first big event in so long, for such a good cause, for such a wonderful and beautiful person. Man, I'm getting the same tears in my eyes as I had that day. It was just such a beautiful day. And I would drive 1,000 miles to be part of it again.
Yeah, I guess I just thought you did the contact initially that kind of got the whole thing rolling with our participation. It's a while ago now, but I can tell you we had a super hard line at the crew that we weren't doing anything. It was just because with so many people and so many options, we just kind of had to say, okay, while these things are in place, we just can't really do anything. And then we got that call, and like I think I told you before we got started, whomever called, and if she watches this, she left the impression that this may not happen if the Elvi didn't show up, because your aunt was so in love with the Rolling Elvi.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was strategic or true, but either way, we were there.
Well,
and I've been a part of a lot of parades in Mardi Gras culture, we'll say, both during and post Mardi Gras. I have yet to attend an event like that felt like quite that special. That neighborhood was like St. Charles Avenue or Veterans or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, well, I will say that as long as I can remember, she was a tremendous Elvis fan. And like for Christmas, her birthday, call it cheesy or whatever, but all I had to do was pretty much go to Amazon, eBay, whatever, and type in Elvis Presley, and be like, she's got that already. She's got that already. Ooh, that would look nice. Order.
Yeah, that's fantastic. She was so sweet and gracious too. I know this, you would never even know that she was sick. She was so excited. It's the kind of the reason why we do it. And we were really, really appreciative to have had the opportunity to be part of that memory for her and your family.
I wish I had it handy, but there's this one picture where we are all surrounding her and doing our point and our Elvis snarl, and she's doing it too. And
and she's got the the Elvis glasses going, and
just nailed it. It's such a beautiful. It's such a.
I just want you to know, I put those glasses on her.
Nice.
I went into my throw bag, and that's not like normally those are all gone after Mark. I had like 3 pair of sunglasses left. I was like, okay, these are coming with us.
Yeah, she adored that day, and literally, I would almost go so far as to say the last words that she said to me were, "Do you remember when the Elvi rolled in the parade with me, rolled in my parade and came and visited me?" Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just so that you know, I'm behind her cup hand. Doug.
This is Scott right here.
Yeah.
And this is Doug right over here. And then I'm tucked
right
back over there in the corner. It was an amazing day. It was honored to be part of it.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind when I turn that corner, because like in my head
Yeah.
it was the same, like he was saying, like a birthday parade. I turned the corner, I was like, what? And there's a fire truck leaving.
Yeah, there's a
it, there
fire
was
truck and
cops
police
out
car
there. I
blocking
was
off
like,
the
what's
street.
happening here? I was like, well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And
You know,
I had
ga-
actually never had met her up until that point, but she, we had been friends for years, and she watched a lot of the podcasts, and we had decorated these little trains because we were like, well, we have to have a signature throw, and so I jumped out of the car I was in and went and handed her a train. She's like, oh, how you like my parade? I was like, this is awesome. I was like, you're gonna have to come to mine. And she's like, oh, I'll be there. I'll be there. I mean, she was having the time of her life, and that day, I think that all of the crews and everything, were just busting at the seams, ready to do something. We had missed Mardi Gras. It just something had to give, and the way it gave for her and allowed it to happen, where the pandemic was clean enough that we could do it safely and get it moving. It was just perfect. Everything seemed to work out right.
Yeah, and got to give it to JP and the guys are there, because remember at the time, at least I remember it, because we got asked if we could do things, and over here in Orleans, they were going after bars that were gathering people and stuff, so we were a little sketchy. It's like we don't want to lose our right to parade, so we got to be careful. And the Jefferson Parish support for that parade was pretty amazing. And when we got there, and all those streets were basically blocked off by the people and everything. And I talked to somebody, I was like, hey, is like this okay if we put our guys here kind of in the street? He's like, y'all can do whatever you want. This is this is a very important day.
Yeah,
Really?
well, I'm told that I'd said that they had to back it up to find out whether we would need a parade permit or not. I'm told that when they called the police, they said, "How long of a parade is it?" And they said, "1 block."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "We'll send some police cars over there. Just don't take too long."
Yeah.
And I mean, that parade was just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I understood that the folks over there in law enforcement supported the parade in a pretty amazing way. And I don't know anything about the permitting or anything. That's all. But you could tell they were all delighted to be part of it as much as all of us in the parade. Yeah. What a special day.
Yeah,
Really?
it was an incredibly special day. And before we started recording here, we even mentioned that it made the front cover of the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually,
Yeah, I think
is it that picture?
I think that's the photo.
I think that was the I think that one is the one that was inside, like when you turn to page 2 of the article. The
Right.
front page one was a close up of like all y'all's faces right around her doing the pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Wow. Please tell your whole family that we enjoyed ourselves as much as she did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
we didn't drink and we didn't hug each other because of the pandemic. And yet we had an amazing time, right? I mean, you get a group of Elvi who are known for doing those two things, drinking beers and hugging each other.
Yeah.
And we were still, overflowing with joy and gratefulness for being there.
And doing this for a long time, and you go down these routes and these big parades like Muses, every now and then, even in a crowd of hundreds and thousands of people, you hear someone yell at us that loves us as much as your aunt did. You can tell, like, the ones that are really excited to see us. So getting a chance to help, come see someone that up close and personal and on a special day like that, knowing there's dozens of those folks that yell at us on the parade route was kind of a nice other side to the Mardi Gras parading we do as well.
How many parades do y'all ride in each year?
Well, I mean, Mardi Gras, we're in 4. The Jailhouse Rockers do the Cleopatra Parade. Now we support them. It's not just them, but that's functionally for the Rockers. Then we do King Arthur. We roll in King Arthur. We roll in Muses, which is our original, that's the reason,
Right.
the season, so to speak. And then Iris has sort of become our second fave to some degree, our Saturday parade. And all the crews are super gracious about bringing us on and making sure that we can bring the number of people and the stuff that we need to do it. But and then Doug or Cliff, y'all can talk about all the other parades from the year.
Probably another 6 or 7 parades that we're in. So was it St. Pat's, St. Joe's, Pride, Decadence, Bulls, the running of the Bulls, Boo,
Chris Owens.
Christmas Parade.
Chris Owens.
Yeah, Chris Owens, Easter. Yep.
Yeah.
So about 7 or 8 other parades that we're in throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always a blast to see y'all on the route. You'd mentioned that you hear people screaming Elvis and cheering for y'all when y'all come down the avenue. I mean, y'all are one of those groups that it's like y'all, the 610 Stompers. There's several groups like that you'll see people. You'll see people who are like lounging in their chair, get up and like start dancing, and getting excited that y'all are coming down the down the street.
I believe I heard Scott say this. So if I stole this from you, Scott, I apologize. But I typically try to ride toward the front of the group of scooters. And when Scott said this to me, it just something clicked, and I think that I'd just been taking it in and hadn't really realized what I was taking in. But when you see someone who's maybe a newbie, maybe a first-time parade goer at Mardi Gras, and they look and they're trying to put together exactly what they're seeing, and then it clicks. And that look of joy on their face, it's just, I mean, it's priceless. And it's cool to see the people who know and love you, but it's really cool to see the out-of-towners who it's their first Mardi Gras and they go, what is this madness coming at me right now?
I do like that all the crews like yourselves have now like followings on their own. Like, well, I'm just gonna go see their crew, like them wherever you're parading, rather than, oh, I really like this parade and so happens to be in it. Like, that's to me a little bit of a surprising thing. I mean, we go to everything because we like everything. But I know that there are certain people that'll go to the parades that you're in specifically, and even more than just to collect the poker chip, but just kind of like you guys because y'all are hilarious.
Yeah, there's this great story we just learned this year when we went to see the movie over at Britannia, the Elvis movie. We decided they invited us to do sort of like a premiere event thing, red carpet. We all dressed up, the rockers danced. They let us say a few words. It was a great event, right? And so our friend Peggy Scott Laborde came to do the microphone on the red carpet and talk with each of us. And we all look over, and I won't use his name because he's a minor, he's a young kid. But there's this young kid, probably in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 years old, this tall, dressed as Elvis, who's coming down the red carpet and getting interviewed. And his mom came over to me and said, look, he is a huge fan of y'all. He is like, he knows who Elvis is and everything. And he's not here just because he's here to see y'all. Every time the Rolling Elvi are in anything, he wants to go. He wants to check it out, and he can't wait for the day he's old enough to be a Rolling Elvi. And that, in all the years I've been in this crew, that blew me away. That there's kid or maybe kids out there that are looking at us as a crew going, when I can do that, I want that. To me, that's kind of like, all right, now maybe we're a little bit of an action figure. I mean, I thought that was super cool.
Yeah. I'd collect a set if y'all had action figures. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, it also speaks volumes that there's certain groups that are in like that New Orleans lore, so much so that there's even like when we talked with the 610 Stompers, we mentioned how there's a couple of groups that are a salute to them. That there's a group at least that I know of that's a salute to y'all in Chewbacca's with the Rolling Elliots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's super flattering when we hear those things where culture continues. And I can't tell you how many times we're in, Mardi Gras books, and people send articles from far away, Europe, South America, where they caught sight of us, and they talk about us being in parades and stuff. It's I got to be honest, even in our real lives, when we're dressed in what we wear to work, and conversation strikes up with folks from around here and not, and I tell people, yeah, I'm a Rolling Elvi, and sometimes I tell them that I'm the captain. Sometimes people lose their minds. They're like, you got to be kidding! Like, how do we? My husband wants to be one so badly. It's kind of the way we dust up membership over time.
Yeah, at some point you're gonna become your own parade, keep on
Oh,
expanding that.
Everybody
So,
on the screen just groaned.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
honestly,
Yeah.
are you trying to cap your numbers in any way? I mean, I'm sure you kind of have to.
I don't know, man. That's a weird. There was a time when we did, but the crew evolves. Let's just put it this way. One day, if we have to get to the point where we have to tell people we got to cap a parade or parades, it'll be a bad problem to have. I mean, a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But there's another thing that happens here, is that, like, after a period of time of doing this, and you put a lot of effort into it, you're a real, mover and shaker in the Elvi, so to speak. People roll off over time. New blood comes in. In the mid 200 range is a really nice, manageable number for this number of things we do. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think that probably sticks around that for a while, because we're not out there waving the membership application either. You got to come find us.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's already a large number for a marching crew or rolling crew or whatever y'all are.
Oh yeah, it is. You're looking at roughly 3/11 of the board of directors. So you're looking at a lot of the crew service here on the screen.
Yeah, it's really wild that a Mardi Gras crew, I have at least one conversation about crew management a day, as do these gentlemen. So it's definitely it's hard but fun work, and I'm happy to do it because of all that I've gotten from it.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
Do y'all have any special events coming up this year? You had mentioned the blood drive that y'all did. What was it, earlier this year?
Well, I don't know. We're the Christmas. I don't know. I mean, I hate to talk too deeply about the Christmas parade, because the new Christmas parade isn't going to be the downtown development district. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but the Kern family's putting on a bit of a bigger Christmas parade. That's going to be go a similar route, but not the same. And we're definitely going to be in that, as we understand it. And then, really, November, December is really some more internal crew things. We do our rookie party for the new folks that come in. That's a big event, but that's, I say closed. People can show up there, but it's really about the crew members. And we haven't done it yet, but we normally try to get a park tailgate in where families can get together. Sort of let's get together with the new and old members and hang out and spend some time in the fall before what really happens, in earnest, starting in mid-December through Mardi Gras, is just a gargantuan amount of work getting everybody lined up for the parading season. And in there, we've also got our January event, and when we honor the day that we lost the king. And that's normally something we publicize as well.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if any of your events are public throughout the year.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes we try to do monthly socials, and this time of year when we get kind of those cold calls and emails about joining, it's a good time to invite people to a social and meet the crew. And then if it jives with you, then maybe you end up joining and becoming a Memphis Mafia. Scott mentioned the blood drive. Last year was our first time doing that, and we actually did that as the death day, the day that Elvis died, that celebration. So that's going to hopefully be an annual event. I think we're already on the books with Tipitina's to do that again in August of 2023. So we'll definitely invite you all, and hopefully you can be there.
Yeah, we'd absolutely love to join y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and for folks that follow us on Facebook, we really try to get as much up there as we can of the things that we do where we like to invite public. I'm assuming you do based on our conversation before. And like things like the socials and stuff, you can kind of find out about that stuff by sending us messages. I mean, we don't really do like Facebook events for things like that because we really want people to come that want to find us, right? You know, instead of just doing things where we just say come all and kind of let, you know, I believe we've always found the best. We have an amazing group of members in our crew, and we always find them when they just sort of find us.
Yeah.
You know, personally, one of my favorite stories is, you know, Doug kind of got to us. He's now president of our board of directors, by the way. Doug got to us by walking up to our founder in at an event of some sort, right, Doug?
Yeah, it was a Comedy Central taping at the Civic.
Yeah, and just basically said, "Hey, you're the Rolling Elvi guy. I want to be in the Rolling Elvi. How do I do that?" And it's those folks, and you know, Doug, I don't want to call you out, but he's got a great forearm tattoo of the TCB logo, and we've got a few mafia that have come in that have tatted themselves up once they got in. And, you know, I mean, I just think it's like Cliff. My story with Cliff is he and I have been biking for a while. And at one point he just finally said, "All right, when do I get to be an Elvi, man?" Like it's to me, that's when we feed the crew that way, we get these really high energy folks that really are super thrilled about it, which also means if you guys really want to do this, you know, you got 3 years or 6 years right here that'll listen to a desire to be a Rolling Elvi.
I like your messages, and I have to admit I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but a lot of you guys ended with TYVM, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it took me forever. I couldn't figure out what that was. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
I have to stop myself from signing emails at work that way.
Yep.
I should just let it go.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like when you figure it out, it's like, okay.
I couldn't believe it. I mean,
but
I've
it's so
seen it
perfect.
several times, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
that? You know, I don't know why it took me so long.
The other thing I would tell you about this membership is that we just have such a family, community, whatever you want to call it. If we had a member who passed away recently, and people are coming out to support her husband. If someone is moving, people show up in droves to help carry boxes and load up trucks. And you don't have to beg people, and you don't have to plead. You don't have to bribe them. We just show up to, you know, support what's going on in the community and each other. And it's, you know, you might not like everyone, you may not hang out with everyone, but man, people are there to support you. And it's really great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I mean, that's the basis of the old crews. You know, they were formed to help each other. It was brotherhood, or however it was. You know, some of those society ones, but you know, that's what it was. They kind of looked out for each other. You know,
For sure.
But, a lot of that still goes, but in the larger parades, I mean, so many people from out of town or whatnot that you know you don't have that little sense of community as we see so often in, you know, crews like yourselves.
Yeah. I wonder how people in like Phoenix get their community built around them like we do down here. I think we're the best kept secret in the world when it comes to these social crews, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's a place to invite new people into and a place to go to when you need something. And you don't even have to look any farther. When we line up for a parade, you're going to see small pockets of 6 guys huddled over a scooter fixing it because somebody's scooter broke down, and they'll all put theirs on their kickstands and stop to help somebody else out on the parade.
Yeah.
We leave no Elvi behind.
Yeah, in between the knowledge of how to fix the scooters and spare parts, I'm sure, you know, to where one guy will have like a little bit of oil or a little bit of gas or something to, you know, share if someone is in a bind.
I don't recall ever seeing one of y'all break it down, which is surprising to me, you know, given the motor. I'm sure it happens, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
We call them, like, that's what we refer to once you break down and you got to walk the parade. You're now a strolling Elvi. we, we got this great guy, Mark Decker, who's on our board. He's a fireman down in Chalmette, and he's like tops with the scooters. And every year we have scooter rallies, and he is like a NASCAR mechanic going from scooter to scooter, putting these things back into top shape so that that particularly folks that aren't mechanically inclined can roll. Now we got a whole internal like help your brother kind of structure, and we got someplace hidden deep in the bowels of a garage someplace or old scooter parts that somebody can pirate to kind of put things back together as well.
That's right. The king of propulsion is what. Well, now he's the king of compliance, but he was the king of propulsion.
Yeah. We're a bunch of weird cats, man.
So you'd mentioned y'all's Facebook earlier. Where all can people follow the Rolling Elvi?
At Rolling Elvi. I believe it's the same on Facebook and Instagram.
For sure.
I almost gave out my personal because I'm so used to promoting myself. So
yeah.
Yeah.
At Rolling Elvi, and we are we try to be active weekly, but obviously when something's coming up, we tend to be a little bit more present.
Yeah, and we're pretty responsive on social media contact too. If somebody wants to get in touch with us, the king of calm down there, Cliff, is really great at making sure that the message gets disseminated to someone that can answer it. There's a shockingly and almost embarrassingly organized structure behind this thing.
I'm sorry to hear that. I really
I know, me too. No, you're not. First of it, we had people that left the crew and they're like, "This is getting too organized for me, man. We gotta go."
I just kind of picture like send up the bat signal and everybody converges in one spot, and then y'all roll down the street. I mean, that's not how it happens.
That is a brilliant idea. Can we get that one in the minutes for the next board meeting, guys?
Yeah, get a cutout of the Elvis on the scooter symbol there, and
the scooter logo.
Yeah, and put it on top of the skylights or whatever that leads the parades a lot of the times.
Or maybe we can convince like somebody downtown at Lafayette Square to beam it onto Gallier Hall. I'm in.
We might be able to help there.
All right, good. Look, we'll get you the logo. Let's do this. Worse ideas have been born more difficult. It's a great idea.
So I've had a great time here. Again, the amount of gratitude that my family has for y'all is, I know that I only put a small dent of showing the gratitude that, for years to come, my whole family will be talking about, the great things that y'all did with the crew of Lois. And, every time that I see y'all on the parade route, even before the parade, the crew of Lois, I've always, gotten a big old grin on my face when I see y'all coming. That, it's always a fun time to see, like we were saying, 100, 150, Elvises on scooters coming by, and then followed up with a float full of Jailhouse Rockers, and then another, vehicle full of Priscilla's, in tow as well. So, y'all really do bring the party to the parade.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That means a lot. And any of those parades, they say, come visit us in lineup. Tell your family to come by. Introduce themselves as who they are. We normally do some announcements. I'd love the crew to get to know that who you guys are, and because a small group of us were at the parade, but everybody was behind our participation.
Yeah.
Doug, when's our next social? Do you know offhand, or Cliff?
I think that our November social is our rookie party.
Oh, gotcha.
So we'll probably have a social in December. We'll post information soon.
All right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, come see us.
Yeah,
We'll be around.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, gentlemen, for everything that you do for Mardi Gras, for the community, and for the legacy of Elvis. You know, that
And the balloon collectors.
yeah, and the balloon collectors. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much.
Signing out. We'll see you on the route.
Happy
Thank you very
Mardi Gras.
much.
I gotta wait for them to leave so I can say Elvis has left the building.
All right.